Hi, good morning, everyone, and welcome to AW Asia. My name is Sadia, and I'm excited to be here to talk about what's happening, basically, at Meta VR. And we're stepping in for our colleague, who is supposed to be presenting over here, Yoav Goldstein, but unfortunately, he wasn't able to be here today with us, so we're going to be presenting instead. And we hope we can go through the entire agenda over here today. We're going to go through very quickly introduction, and then some recap on XR fundamentals, just to make sure that everyone is on the same page when we come and say lots of different terms. And then we'll follow on with what's new in XR and AI, and what's new in Horizon World and AI. So, quick introductions. He's not here, but that's Yoav. He is the senior software engineer over at Meta Reality Labs. Yoav and his team are passionate about pushing the boundaries of what is possible in XR. They work on everything from prototyping new applications in mixed reality to AI to developing core technologies that power our devices. So he's very sorry he couldn't be here. And then there's us. My name is Sadia. This is Esther. We are partner engineer over at Mixed Reality Labs, helping the APAC region, helping developers over here such that they can thrive and make the best possible apps they can. OK, so I hope some of you guys have seen these three products, which are from our team specifically. To give you a better idea of kind of the type of work we do, there is a game we've released called First Encounters. It's a mixed reality game where you're basically shooting space aliens, and it's really cute. If you haven't played it, I highly encourage you play it. The next thing we have is Fanto, which is an open source available to all developers as a starting point to demonstrate different mixed reality capabilities, and Space Setup, which if anyone here has used an Oculus Quest before, will know that as soon as you put it on, you get this thing where you can scan your room, which is the Space Setup. So these are some of the things that our team is responsible for. So before we move on, I'm going to pass it over to Esther to go through some recaps of the fundamentals.
Right, thank you, Sadia. So I know a lot of you guys are probably very experienced developers, but just bear with me. I think it's important that we just set the stage for the same terminologies that we'll be using for the rest of the presentation. So here's the recap. First up, pass-through, and this is a very important technology in mixed reality applications. So if you look at this, it basically means if you're a user, you're putting on the headset like Quest in meta terms, you are able to see the physical world around you. So these are some of the applications you can play with. It's not just a full view, it could also be a partial view. If you see the first video, you can play with things like, OK, you can occlude the entire environment, and you can play, draw heart shapes and things like that just to see into your physical world. The second one is putting in a virtual objects. You can also play with it, putting things and see how they look like in the physical world. So imagine like shopping, buying something, putting it into your room, and see what it looks like. The third one is pretty fun. It's like a torchlight kind of application. You can darken the rest of the world, putting on layers into the physical world, and then lighting up a certain part that you want to play with. The fourth one is interesting. So you can even change the lighting and the tint of the room. So imagine if you want to do like a horror kind of application or a game, you can darken the space, put in some red, and make it look like, this horror kind of theme application. This is one of my favorite building blocks. So for developers out there, you'll be happy to know that we provide building blocks for all the most common and popular use cases. So for example, pass-through, like I mentioned, teleportation, object tracking, hand tracking, object tracking, etc. So imagine if you want to do a really quick prototype for someone, you don't have to set up everything on your own. Just drag and drop these building blocks into your Unity project, and you can quickly set it up, and you can accelerate your prototyping process. You'll be happy to know also that we are still adding on new building blocks as we go along. OK, I also want to talk about spatial anchors and co-location. So spatial anchors are really important in MR applications. So for example, if you see in this bigger picture, I want to put a virtual plant on my shelf, for example, to fill it up, make it look nicer, right? But with spatial anchor, the virtual application will then know exactly where it should be in the physical world. So when you remove your headset and put it back on, even if you're facing a different direction, the plant is anchored onto your physical shelf. Another very popular use case is for multiplayer. So imagine you're playing with your friend, for example, maybe a board game on the table, you want to see in the multiplayer game your friend looking at the same space of the virtual object. It would be very strange if your friend is looking elsewhere, breaking the immersion, breaking the natural feel of this application. Right, so scene understanding. So it's not enough just to have spatial anchors and whatever that I've mentioned, pass-through and stuff. We want to understand what's in the scene. So if you're a Quest user, you'll be familiar with putting on a headset. They might ask you to set up your scene and space setup. You can do things like, okay, this is a table, this is a wall, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then when you go into the application as developers, you can use that information to your benefit. So for example, if you, in your application, you allow users to put an item on a table, you will know that there's a table and it can only be allocated there. Or if you want to put like a virtual piano, it can be on the floor. What's important is, for example, let's say it's a ping pong game, and as a user, I can throw something across the room, throw the ping pong across the room. With scene understanding, what you can do is, if the ping pong hits the wall, it bounces off. It doesn't just go through it, right? So it looks a lot more natural and a lot more fun for the users. So as mentioned, we have the MRUK kit that works on top of it. It allows you to manage the scene data that you have in this example. Right, okay, this, I'll just go quickly. We also have haptics SDK and XR audio SDK. Since you have users on the headset, you really want to extend the sense of what the users have, not just sight, but also you can put in tactile feedback and also spatialized audio in your apps. Okay, one thing I really want to mention as well, we really want to support a wide range of developers. So we do have support for Unity, for Unreal, and also if you already have existing Android apps that you want to add spatial features to, we also have Android APIs for your use. Right, so I'm going to pass on to Sadia for the more exciting part of the talk, what's new in MR and AI.
Thank you, Esther. Kind of carrying on from what Esther just mentioned about the Android apps, I want to talk very quickly a little bit about what it is that you can do with your existing Android apps. How do you bring them over? So right now, you can essentially import your Android apps into VR, and your users will be able to do things like panel sizing, putting them in the right place in their VR view. We have DRM support, so you can have streaming services. So if you have a streaming app, that can also be imported over here. We've got audio, music, so you can have background audio playing, sharing, authentication, as well as input. So now your app can actually take in the input, including hands, including the controllers of the Quest. And more importantly, we've also introduced Spatial SDK into your Android apps. This means that you can use the spatial anchors that Esther mentioned earlier directly in your Android apps. So it kind of is blending in VR and Android apps all together. So that was recently introduced. The next thing, which I think a lot of people were super, this was one of the biggest requests we got, is pass-through camera access. So we've introduced this. This is now available, and most of our developers are actually playing with this, playing with our sample, and you can do things like run ML models and extract what are the objects in the scene. So over there you can see this person's looking at computers, at the monitors over there. So the ML is, you are able to now feed the actual raw video feed into an ML, and then it can be used for AI and your applications. And we also have some inbuilt tools to help with this. Adding on to building blocks, we've now got new AI building blocks. So in Unity, you can now drag and drop these, and you can have object detection in ML. So if the user's looking at a cube, it will tell you it's a cube. And we have also enabled LLMs. So we can have text-to-speech, speech-to-text, which is great for lots of applications. Allows more users to be able to use your product. And we also allow you to basically customize it and integrate any AI or ML that you want to. The next biggest improvement we have, and I really want to emphasize this because mixed reality controllers are great, but hands are where it's at. Like the fidelity of hands is what we're focusing on, getting improved. And you can see in the video over there, like in the slow motion especially, how much better we've become at detecting the hands accurately. So fast motion mode, as well as wide motion mode, which is when the hand is out of the camera, are both now better and can work at the same time. Another improvement we've done with hands is locomotion and making sure that it feels more realistic. So you'll see in a second here, you're climbing this rock climbing wall, which feels far more natural than like it ever used to. So this is part of a lot of the work that we've been doing with this, as well as physics-based interaction. So you'll see this person kind of sliding down the pole, and it feels like how it would if you were in a playground sliding down that pole. And lastly, we have done lots of improvements on the throwing. So this was one of the complaints that was there before, that it's actually really hard to throw in ML and make it feel good. And this is one of the things that we've been working on, making it basically feel as natural as possible. So if you have MR in your applications, I highly suggest that you get the latest updates for these. All right. Next, we have Hyperscape. This was actually previewed in Connect last year, where we introduced this, and what it was is basically your room or your space in virtual reality. So it's hyper-realistic. It's using high-resolution 3D Gaussian spot scans of your environment. And now, we have introduced the capture app. So over here, you will see this is someone's actual room being captured, and you're seeing it in 3D. There'll be a little video right now. So this is the person actually capturing their own space. You walk around and capture the entire thing, and then you'll explore it in virtual reality, and it looks exactly hyper-real. So this is great. The applications for this, you can imagine, will be in a lot more real-world things. Maybe it's training. Maybe it's like in a pilot's cockpit. You want to have much more realistic-looking kind of environments as opposed to something which is 3D rendered or 3D generated. Okay. And so I'm going to go through some samples and showcases that we have available for developers right now in order to utilize some of the things that we've spoken about already. So in GitHub, we have something called MR Motifs. And this is our latest and most focused mixed reality sample so far. And it will shine the best light possible in providing code examples to you. So in MR Motifs, the first one that we have is the pass-through, making sure that you are able to actually use pass-through in the most efficient way possible. And we give examples of blending different environments and allowing windows into the real environment. Next, we have your ability for multiplayer. So using the chess example over there is 2 different players in 2 different places playing chess concurrently, so that it feels like you are playing with someone in real time. Equivalently, we also have co-location. Next to it is when you've got 4 people together watching a movie. Maybe you're watching something educational, or maybe you're 4 engineers working on an engine, and that's where co-location comes into play. And we have both of these examples there ready for developers to use and start off from. And lastly, we have the depth effect. So this is where our depth camera can actually tell you the distance from where you are to the world around you. Using this, you're able to do very, very simple things like collisions with a dynamically changing environment all the time. And it gives you the ability to make much more immersive feeling apps. And lastly, we also have, we're kind of trying to say that we've got examples to show you how you can do shared whiteboards and shared physics objects such that you can actually feel like you're working together. Okay, so we also have a pass-through camera API sample. This is actually one of our most used sample currently because it's one of the latest ones. And it allows developers, as I mentioned earlier, to use the camera feed. So as an example over there, you can see that this person's made a little app where you can change the brightness of the text based on how dark the environment is. And it's all basically because they've got the camera feed. And the other one, they're using the raw feed of the person's hand over there as a shader to make it like an underwater effect. So these were not previously possible, but now they are. And we also have a sample of the depth API, as mentioned before, so that people can get started, making sure that they can have the best understanding of occlusion in our system. As well as those samples, we do have showcase apps. And one of our first showcase apps was First Hands. If you haven't tried Oculus or haven't developed for it, this is the one to try first. Another one we have is called North Star, and this is actually more of a graphical showcase of what's possible currently on the Oculus Quest, making sure that you have the most optimized graphics possible and kind of samples for that, because obviously that is often a bottleneck a lot of our developers have. And last, I'm going to show you something which I'm really excited about. It's called Spatial Lingo.
Come grab my flipper. Thanks so much. Learning new languages is fun. Pick a language to plant the seed. Look, the language tree is sprouting. Let's speak some Spanish to help it grow.
El libro.
Good job. Can you say this word?
El globo.
You got it. The language tree is so big now. Thanks for your help.
So what you just saw was basically an example of our pass-through camera API being used with multiple AI technologies together. We're using, I think this one was using YOLO v9 in order to analyze through Unity's engine the images that we're seeing. So you saw the books, the library over there. So all of this is using the machine learning over there. And it's being sent to Llama API in order to do language translation as well, and then basically becoming an interactive language learning experience for adults and children who want to learn a new language. So this is great, and it's an example of where apps can be headed. And I will now pass over to Esther.
Thank you, Sadia. That looks really fun. Like, I really wish I had that studying Mandarin while growing up, but yeah alas. So we're going to change tracks a little bit. Right now, we're going to talk about Horizon Worlds, and yeah, we didn't forget you guys who are creators of Horizon Worlds over here. Next slide, please. Yes. So in case it is new to you, Horizon Worlds is a social VR platform where you're able to just imagine and create worlds that you want to experience and share that with your friends. So today, we're going to share a little bit with what tools we have for you to create such worlds. All right, so this is an overview of the tooling we have. I really just want to bring you back through a little history. If you guys were with me in the early days of Horizon Worlds, you will remember that you will need to be on the headset to create any world. While that was very fun for me, like going in, you're able to see the VR object, you can stretch, you can place it anywhere in the virtual world. That was great for maybe 5 objects. When you have 50 objects, 500 objects, no, you're going to be in a headset for hours and probably just end up with a headache. So I'm really happy when this came out, the desktop editor. Now you can create the world using your PC on desktop editor. And the desktop editor also has different features such as TypeScript, assets and NPCs, performance tooling, you're able to see how your world is doing. Also collaboration, you can work in a team with source control. And of course, the most exciting part for today probably is Gen AI. Okay, before Gen AI, I really want to talk about tools for mobile as well. I think at this point in time, VR is exciting, but we do not have such a big community on it as compared to mobile. So what we did was we created tools for mobile. So the great thing is when you create a world, it can reach not only just VR or mobile separately, but you can have both in the same world, playing in the same world. So you now have a bigger outreach of communities. So what you can do with the tools, you can preview your game with mobile controls. You can easily share a link to your entire team for play testing, and you can also push notification directly to your phone. On this picture, you see this Godzilla thing with people shooting at it. It's actually a game on our Horizon Worlds. Right now, you can play test it later. If you are on a VR headset, you play as the big monster that's attacking the city. If you come in as a mobile player, you are one of them defending the city as a team. So you have different experiences also for different communities of people. And I really encourage you to try it out. It's really fun. Right, so back to Gen AI. So right now, this is in beta. It's pretty new in our platform. You can unlock your creativity with Gen AI just using text. Okay, to be honest, for myself, because I'm mostly a programmer, I am not an art person. I really cannot, it takes me so long just to look for assets and put it in just to show my friend or my colleague an idea that I have. But right now, I can go to the prompt and say, hey, create me this, I don't know, maybe this superhero with a cape, with something, just giving it some description. I can have it in the scene, maybe do a little coding myself and prototype it really quickly and show it to everyone, iterate on their ideas and feedback. So as I mentioned, okay, if you're not a programmer, great, you can also use prompt to create logic and code, producing TypeScript for your world. Lastly, you can also bring characters to life with conversational LLM-powered NPC. So now your characters can be animated in your world as well, just using AI. This is just an image just to show you what it looks like and what you can do with it. Right here, I just want to point you to the last part, generate using a style reference. I find this really helpful. So, I mean, you can use text to tell people, like, I mean, to tell the AI, like, for example, oh, I want a cartoonish look of this, but it's so much easier to provide a reference image. Please create all assets according to this reference image. And there you go, AI knows what to do with it. Right, so the next two slides are just going to show you very specific prompts you can do. So for example, TypeScript, as I mentioned, make it so that the coins appear to be floating with a slight rotation. When a user collects them, make them spin fast and move upwards. You can be as specific as that. You can also add audio. You can also add texture on assets that you already have. So not just creating brand new assets, but also modifying existing assets. And after Gen AI does the thing, you can also manually update it if you want to make it more specific or to a certain detail that only you know. You can also do generation of meshes, skyboxes, and scenes. I really like the scene one. So again, if I were to do a shooting zombie kind of game, I don't want to spend time prototyping by creating each building, right? I can simply ask AI, please create a city, a post-apocalypse scene with zombies and things like that, and there we go, a very fast prototype that I can show people. All right, so I can say this in so many words. You can see so many images and videos, but I really encourage you to try it yourself. All these will not do it justice until you experience it yourself. So we have here the 3 applications that Sadia presented earlier. These are links to the GitHub. You can just take a look at how it's created, try out yourself on the App Store, and try to build something similar just starting from these applications. I also mentioned Kaiju Evolution as a Horizon World game. Please try it. The QR code is there. The great thing is it's on mobile, so you can do it straight away even if you don't have a Quest set right here. Yeah, I think that's about it, and we will be hanging out behind during the break, so feel free to come up to us if you have any questions or you want to know more. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. That's the last slide.